All right. Hey, everybody. Happy May 13th, 2025. Very excited for another edition of Silo Tank. This is a cool Silo Tank. This is a special one. We have a very interesting product. One of our favorite ways to find products is when other talent folks refer them into us and they say, I've been using it and it's working really, really well. Y'all should check it out. Usually when that happens, we get to see something pretty cool. So today in the tank, we have Shardul. Shardul is the founder and CEO of 100x.bot. Not only that, but he's also a YC alumni and engineer. And I think if anything, it kind of is depicted in his build methodology and how he's gone about the process of building what is now 100x. So without further ado, Shardul, I'll hand the reins off on over to you. The team is excited to see what you built. And yeah, we're excited to dive in.
Hey, thanks, Amir. Thanks for having me here. So I'm just sharing my screen. Just let me know if you guys can see it. Yeah, can you see this?
Yes.
Yep, we got it.
All right, cool. So first of all, before I jump into a demo, I want to tell you why I'm building 100x. And there are three major reasons. One is inbound applications just don't work. Every time you post a job applications, you're flooded with AI-generated inbound applications. So recruiters need recruiters need tools that they can find the right candidates and they can engage with the right candidates with. Currently, almost all the tools are building for specific workflows, and I'll come to that shortly. But they don't have the overall picture of where the candidate is, and this only demands a lot of constant context switches for the recruiters, and this ends up wasting a lot of time on the recruiter side. Figma happened for designers. Cursor happened for developers, but like a true co-pilot hasn't really happened for recruiters yet, and which is why we are building 100x. So when I say the current recruiting tools landscape, right, it span across sourcing, fraud detection, scheduling, note-taking, follow-ups, and BizDev. So BizDev is specifically for the agency recruiters. But what happens is these tools create their own data sets. And these data sets are not really shared across these workflows, right? So for example, when you are actually trying to look for a fraud detection on, say, HireRight, that workflow has no idea about what's been mentioned on their LinkedIn profile or on their resume. Or when you are taking notes using, say, MetaView, you have no idea what their fraud detection profile says. And these dots are to be connected, or these dots are being connected today by recruiters manually. And that just ends up having broken workflows and wasted time. So this is where 100x comes in. We call ourselves Lego blocks for recruiters. We spend a lot of time with recruiters understanding what their pain points are. And then we create these Lego blocks, which the recruiters can sequence and stitch together so that their own workflow works as it is, and they don't have to learn like a new tool or anything. So 100x is a Chrome extension. And before moving on to the demo, we spoke with about 50 recruiters, and we actually sat down and we interviewed them, and we understood, like we wanted to know where they spend a lot of time. And what we realized is they spend a lot of time currently, at least on LinkedIn and LinkedIn Talent Recruiter. So sourcing is one of the main things that they spend time on, then outreach, and then also BD. So BD is from a agency recruitment perspective. Internal recruiters have nothing to do with it. So what they do is they come to the screen, they put all the filters, and then they still have thousands of candidates that they want to go through. So this is where 100x comes into picture. And 100x is a Chrome extension. And there are several workflows, agentic workflows, as you can see. And for this particular demo, I'm going to show you how to automate the candidate sourcing on LinkedIn. So you just click on this 3-year time, and then just say launch setup. All you have to do is write a simple prompt which tells the bot how to save and hide a candidate. This prompt can be generated with AI as well based on the job description. So you can just paste the job description here and say, write with AI. We write the prompt for you. But for this demo, I'm just going to use a previously saved prompt. So my prompt here is save if the following conditions are met. They have a strong experience in Java. They have familiarity with tools such as Jenkins, Cucumber, or CI/CD tools, and hide if they don't have experience with, say, MongoDB, PostgreSQL, or Oracle. What happens now is you just say run task, and then that's it. So I'm actually completely hands off, and this is where the AI takes over the browser. And now it's going through every single profile on its own. So you see this funky cursor here. It starts going through every single profile, and then it makes a decision if this candidate is to be saved for your job posting or not. Um, so I would actually let it, sort of go through. Now you see it's imitating human interaction. So it went and expanded the summary. Now it's reading every single detail of this profile. And then based on the prompt that we wrote, it's going to make a decision whether to save this candidate to the pipeline or hide or reject them. And then let's see what happens now. So we ended up hiding this candidate because, they disqualify for more than two factors here. And then it goes to the next one. And I just let it. So since this is a out of network profile for me, it would just skip it. Remember, this is all happening within my own browser, so it's just using my logged in session with LinkedIn, and this is not any backend automation of any sort. So you see, we expanded the summary, and then we actually again start reading every single detail of the profile, and we make a decision if this candidate is a good fit or not. So I'll just wait for a second and then I'll move to the next one. You can leave this as is, and so we ended up saving them because this candidate checks all the checkboxes, and then this can go on. So we also have what we call as these worksheets. So every time this workflow completes its execution, we give you a simple Excel sheet, and this Excel sheet serves two purposes. One, this acts like an audit of what the bot has done. You can always take the final call yourself, but so far none of the recruiters who use us had to take a second call themselves because the bot has been working with absolute 100% accuracy. And the second, this serves as a memory bundle for the subsequent workflows. And I'll explain this part. And this is important because, that's the whole hypothesis on which we are building for recruiters, that, there are no data blind spots that you'll face. This can be fed to subsequent workflows very easily. So you can see that there is analysis of reasoning of why we have hidden this candidate versus why we have saved this candidate, so on and so forth. So the next workflow which I want to show, there are several ones, by the way, but I'm going to not spend a lot of time trying to demo all of them. But a lot of recruiters told us that, they also drop a nudge on their to their candidates on through their Gmail, right? So what we ended up doing was we defined another workflow, which is send Gmail to your pipeline profiles. And what recruiters do here is they just come to pipeline and then they just open this agentic workflow that send Gmail to pipeline profiles. Now, what we do here is we are integrated with Apollo, Lucia, Casper, Scrap, and we automatically figure the email IDs of the profiles, and we also verify them so that your email never bounces. And then we just send them either nudges or full-fledged messages to the shortlisted candidates. So we're working with so I'm just writing a simple prompt, which is write a personalized outreach message to a potential staff engineer candidate based on their LinkedIn profile. Avoid generic greeting like "I came across your impressive profile." Highlight 2, 3 specific strengths from their profile that align with Equinix's technical needs. So we are doing a pilot with Equinix, and that's the prompt I wrote for them. And then sign off with Shardul's name and illustrate how joining would be mutually beneficial. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say 3, 4 lines max. The tone should be professional but conversational, concise, and demonstrate you've taken time to understand their specific background. And I'm just going to say run task. So what happens now, it starts going through Parth's profile. And then it comes up with, it makes API calls to Parth. So it makes API calls to, instantly Apollo. It verifies if the API is, if the email is verified or not. So you see that we figured their email, it's artpar@gmail.com, and instantly says that, yeah, this is a verified email. So now we start reading Par's profile, and then we come up with a message that is relevant to Par's profile and the job opening. So this is not like a typical templated message, that we typically send to people. And I'll come up with some statistics as to how this has improved the overall candidate experience as well. Now you see that it opened my Gmail. Now it's going to click on compose, and now it's actually going to type his email ID, which is yeah, artpar@gmail.com. Then it's going to type a subject, your developer tools expertise and Equinix's global infrastructure. And then it wrote a email. Obviously, it wrote it very fast, sent it. Then it's going to the next one. So this was one workflow that is being constantly used by developers. I'm going to take a minute and then show you what type of email we wrote them. So your work with building developer tools at Unlock caught my attention. Creating tools that improve developer productivity requires both technical depth and user empathy. Your experience managing high-load systems at Airtel X Labs and full stack development background would be invaluable at Equinix, so on and so forth. So it's basically, we've taken time to sort of understand what the nuances of Parth's profile are and then mention them in the message. So I'll shortly share some of the statistics which have made a big difference to some of the agencies that we work with. But before that, there are several other workflows as well. These are meant for doing BD for agency recruiters, but I'm not going to go into the details as of yet. So just a second, I'll just reshare my screen. Yeah. Yeah. So a tool that would essentially put together APIs, context on the browser, trigger conditions, when to trigger what workflow, and then a shared memory would be in the truest sense, it would be a co-pilot for recruiters, and that's what 100x is. Anything. So again, we are not confined by any software, be it LinkedIn or be it Gmail or be it, I just gave a demo so that you understand what's happening. But whenever API is available, we call an API. Whenever browser screen is available, we use that. Whenever a workflow needs to start, we have certain trigger conditions, and most importantly, we have a shared memory. So what's happening at the sourcing layer is very much available when it comes to say fraud detection or when it comes to say interviewing that candidate with notes. So far we've been there are 350 installs we have, of which 50 recruiters are extreme heavy users of our product. They use us for more than 6 hours a day, and we're making about $1,600 in monthly recurring revenue. And yes, so this is the part I wanted to highlight. So we work with this staffing agency called TrueSearch. They have mentioned that they see 31% higher response rates with the personalized outreach messages that they've been sending using 100x. And in fact, they want to combine some of the existing insights that they have about the candidate, and that if combined with the context of say other tools such as LinkedIn, the messages becomes even more refined and personalized. So, few recruiters were kind enough to give us a testimonial. Michael from TrueSearch, he's been phenomenal in helping us identify workflows, and we've been building it for them. I think he's the one connected us. He's the one who connected us with Amir. And then some of these other recruiters have just found us through our content, but they absolutely love using us. That's about us. So just for Join Syelo, if you could scan this QR code and sign up, you'll instantly get 2,000 free credits. And, I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right. Shardul, thank you so much. Yeah, you gave it away. It was the TrueSearch team that informed me about what 100x has been building. And per Shardul's point, I heard great things. But yeah, we've got some fire questions going on in the chat. Everyone, feel free to go off mute if you have any questions. I obviously have a ton, but I don't want to dominate the call, so I'm going to save mine. So if you have questions, please jump on in right now. I know, Brett, you were going off on the messages. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so I'm curious on how you're working with or avoiding LinkedIn's terms and conditions that expressly forbid, extensions from modifying, scraping, or automating. I mean, not an issue that I personally care about because I love all those tools, but I know LinkedIn has recently blocked access to and even banned the accounts of the founders for things like Seamless AI and Apollo.io and Machine Sorcerer. Obviously, it was a case a long time ago that they sort of went ham on. So how are you mitigating it, or are you not mitigating it? You're just too small. You're staying at the wire. So
Yeah. So So there are two things here, right? One is this is an enhancement of your own usage of LinkedIn. So you are using this within your own browser context. There is no backend automation where we save your details and where we sort of take your cookie and then run them on some sort of a backend. This is essentially just making you more productive on LinkedIn. And we are in fact talking to them where we say that, look, this is only increasing the dependency of LinkedIn to recruiters. So that's one way. Second, it helps us sort of land a use case very quickly. If you see, we're not only LinkedIn dependent, right now, since a lot of recruiters say, hey, look, we spend so much time doing this, if there was some automation that would help us, we ended up doing that. But that doesn't mean the tool is entirely dependent on just LinkedIn. It helps us land a use case. But with True itself, what we ended up doing was we are now working on different sources of talent as well. So in some of the cases, we're working with Stack Overflow, GitHub, even Behance, Dribble, and we are absolutely okay to sort of source the data from there. So one difference I want to highlight is that we are not tool dependent. We are an operator of sorts. We're like a recruiter operator for you. And no matter what tool comes our way, we would be happy to support that. So, being LinkedIn dependent doesn't kill or make our product.
Understood. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you for going into that.
Yeah. I think, shall I read the second question or?
Yeah, guys, feel free to go off mute. Andy,
Absolutely. So the second question is, I think Brett asked this. So second question is, the search Boolean throttling usually flags LinkedIn accounts. You're absolutely right. So if you actually see, our navigation of the product, maybe I'll just share the screen again and show. We take pauses and we imitate human actions in doing so. So if you, let me just go back to Talent 500. We take pauses, we actually click on buttons, which only emulates how you would use LinkedIn, and it's not in any sense automated. And then this automation is also based on the prompt you wrote. So let me just show that again. So when you actually just look at this execution, it first opens a profile. We don't need to, we already have the data here. Then it goes and clicks on this see work more summary. We don't need to, the bot can already figure what the summary is. And then it reads the entire profile, and then it waits for some time. So again, the idea is not to fool LinkedIn here or try to scrape data off of them. The idea is to genuinely sort of help you be better. And then there is a delay of 2 seconds after each profile is done. So you really can go so fast, so much faster when you're using this. Does that answer your question? So this was from.
It does completely. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was from Florian. Yeah. Okay. Then the next question is, would be interested in learning what the response is versus InMail. Yes. So the major concern with LinkedIn InMail is that they let you send only one InMail throughout 24 hours. So typical recruiter workflow is send them an InMail and then nudge them on Gmail. That combination has worked really well for some of the folks that we are working with. And With this combination, I wouldn't say stop using InMail, because that's a guaranteed way of showing yourself in their inbox. But the suggestion is to use some combination, and that suggestion has shown 31% improvement, at least for the agencies that we are working for. Yeah.
Hey, Sharma, I'm Andy here. Jumping off of your comment about being an operator, and this is something that I know companies like TrueSearch and other exec firms do. This feels like a product that you could potentially go into market with as like a white label co-pilot for each one of these organizations. Is that your intent, or are you also trying to go to market as an individual like co-pilot product that gets added on into the tech stack?
So our idea is to go in as a co-pilot and work on top of your existing tools. We are really not saying that, hey, don't use this tool, or we will work only with this tool or X tool or Y tool. We sit with you, we are patient enough to understand what workflows you have and then automate them for you. That's the approach we've taken so far. Andy, does that answer your question, or shall I explain more?
No, so I was asking more so about when your go-to-market strategy. So is your go-to-market strategy to be sold as an individual co-pilot product branded 100X, or are you also trying to go into organizations that want to take your co-pilot and you have it as a white label, so it becomes the TrueSearch co-pilot, or the I think you have like a HNT talent co-pilot. I guess that's my question is like, are you trying to go completely just branded as 100X as a tool, or are you open to white labeling and letting companies kind of customize and honestly, in a lot of times, like put a moat around their user behavior, activity, and data that your co-pilot is interacting? And I think that would be like a big desire of most companies wanting to implement this, especially at scale, that they don't want their stuff being utilized for your other clients.
Absolutely, that's a great question, and I'll tell you how we are going about it. So there are certain agentic workflows that are available to all, and so when we know that X software is absolutely famous, we sort of go and make those workflows public. There is a concept of private workflows as well. If a company or if a recruitment firm wants to make their own workflow that are private to them, and they don't want to make it public, there is a concept of private workflows as well. But these would be under the umbrella of 100X. So within 100X, you would be able to find public and private. There's no separate concept of hey, take 100X and then there is a white labeling option of 100X which you can resell. That option is not there. And with respect to our GTM, we go after the individual recruiters that help them with their own workflows, and they take us to their management. So essentially, the reason we have done all this LinkedIn automation is also because it helps that last recruiter finish their task faster, and then they take us to their management, and then that's where we are able to convert the entire agency. Whereas trying to go top down would have all sorts of like at the top level, people may not know what level of workflow automation is needed. So yeah, I think, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yeah, and maybe you've gone over this a couple of times, but it seems like you're customizing the experience for the recruiter.
Yeah.
So whatever they need, you're kind of that magic glove for that particular company or recruiter. Is that essentially what you're saying?
Yes, that's right. And then our hypothesis is that one workflow focused product doesn't fit, like one size doesn't fit all. I can tell you from my experience with agency recruiters how massively different they are compared to just say a small agency or even internal recruiters. So our idea is we have built this fluid tool which can let you sequence any workflow you want, and then it would ultimately give you that a Copilot experience.
Is customization,
Yeah,
it's customization. If you do customize it for a particular, like let's say, if it's a bigger agency company and they need a whole customization, just like what Andy was saying, that they
Yeah.
don't want to let their secret sauce out, is that an additional cost, or yeah?
Yeah. So we have an interface which lets them create that. Maybe I'll quickly show that to you. This is work in progress, but they can create this, entire workflow on their own and then keep it private to themselves. If they don't know how to sort of operate this, so I'll show it to you. So basically, we have blocks where you can interact with the page, you can navigate to the browser, and this is a completely no-code tool, by the way. They can run a sub workflow. They can store data to the Excel sheet. They can use the data from the Excel sheet. They can work with the tables. They can control the flow. They can, in fact, introduce wait times, etc. They can even, in fact, even call APIs which are external. So all this functionality is there. In fact, it's live even today. So there are two options here. If they want to create it themselves, they can do that and then maintain them privately. So they would show up here in my private workflows, and these would be private at a domain level. So if your company name is say truesearch.com, so anyone within truesearch.com only would be able to access them. Whereas if the recruiting agencies want us to create, there would be certain additional extra cost, but that includes just our time, but not not an ongoing basis cost. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I think Lauren, you have a question?
Hi, thank you. Are there any integrations with CRM tools like GEM so that if you're sending sequences, you can follow?
Yes. So GEM, we haven't come across a recruiter team that is using GEM, but we'd be more than happy to do it for you. It only takes us 1 day's time to support GEM or any other recruitment. So some of the agencies we work with, they have their internal developed CRMs. We support them out of the box already, and it took us only 1 day. GEM is fairly standard, so it should be pretty fast for us to support them. It should
Okay.
take us pretty fast.
When this extension is on LinkedIn, and if you were adding people to projects, I think that's what you called it as well, then it could also funnel into a GEM project so you can follow the
Yeah.
progression of these sequences. Okay.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, Mike, that would be great. I'll give my credentials, the email ID here. You could just shoot an email to me. I think you already have that through the invitation. So would be very happy to sort of sit with you and then understand what the flow is and take it from there.
Sure. Cool. One question I have. Oh, go ahead, Steve.
Just a quick question, and maybe I missed it, but if you are doing it, like let's use True as an example, do you have the capability, because yes, it does emulate a recruiter's workflow, but do you have a way of actually teaching and helping and developing the recruiters that are using it too, to give them feedback? Like someone else in your organization is using like the tool this way versus the way you're using it, and they're getting better results. Like, is there a way you get to improve along the way?
You are absolutely right. In fact, this did happen with one of the agencies we were working with, and like one recruiter was using this filter that, hey, the candidate should be within 30 minutes of commute distance from San Francisco. Others had no idea how to how to even make sense of this. In fact, one other recruiter was using it for DEI purposes, that they wanted just female candidates to match the DEI targets they've been given. So the other recruiters were not aware. So there is like a knowledge base we have. Let me share the screen where people can share prompts, talk about them, and then people can also just let me know if you can see the screen. They can go to our dashboard, and then they can see
it.
Yeah, people can look at what type of prompts gave them what results, and then there is you can just share the screen with others, your teammates. It becomes available to them. They can go through these prompts and then learn from others. So this has definitely happened, and so there is this knowledge center which people use to share across things. In fact, this has been one of the drivers for us to get more installs within that company. Did it answer your question?
It did, thanks. I just sort of can see it evolving to where it actually gets more than just like a bulletin board, but that's further down the road.
Yeah, it would come. Yeah, the UX is sort of work in progress here, but that's definitely work in progress, and it will be on the roadmap.
Shardul, one question might be silly, but it seems as if, and tell me if I'm correct or incorrect, that while 100x is running on top of LinkedIn, I actually don't have access to my computer or mouse.
No, that's not true. So you can just start a separate Chrome instance, and then you can keep running it. And then rest of your work you do with a different Chrome window. In fact, the way recruiters are using us is they have a separate monitor where they just drag and drop the screen and then let it run, where they continue to work on their laptop.
Okay, very cool. And then can you tell us a little bit about pricing?
Yeah, so this is a usage-based pricing. There is a concept of credits. So every task you run consumes certain number of credits depending on how complex that task is and what is the need of AI involvement in that task. Yeah. So the automate sourcing task that I showed, usually it takes between 4 to 8 credits, depending on how big or small the profile is. And you do buy credits for a certain amount. So there are 3 plans we have. A startup, like an individual recruiter plan, you buy 1,000 credits for about $30. You buy 12,000 credits for $200, and you buy about 200,000 credits for $2,000 a month. So these are the plans, and if you run out of credits, you can always top them up one time. And maybe
Makes
share.
me a little nervous on that, just because it almost disincentivizes me to use it more and integrate it more. Like I just if I'm in your seat, and you don't need to make this feedback, you can tell me what Kevin's saying. I would want to get them more addicted to it before I would ever switch to that kind of pricing model, because I want people to actually feel like they have to live with it and they just want it more and more and more. And then if you want to switch down the road, not as bad as like LinkedIn, how they screw everyone with pricing, but you can change your model. But I don't love coming out of the gate with that kind of model because it disincentivizes me and my team to use it as much as you probably want them to use it. Just my 2 cents.
Sure. So in that case, what is your comfort level? What do you think sort of convinces you? At one point, we are okay with, hey, you spend X and you don't worry about the credits at all. But we're trying to getting there. What the sweet spot is, because we are also figuring out which type of agencies, what size of agencies we want to work with. Happy to hear your thoughts, Steve.
Yeah, I think Andy will chime in too, and she's usually got better opinions than I do. But I would think going along users, like a user-based system, and or to your point, like if it's a bigger company, enterprise, so it's just you have the license for your company. It always makes me nervous when you have a pricing model that penalizes me the more I use it. And I know it's not penalizing because I'm using it more and I'm getting a benefit, so I'm not taking away from that. But if I'm in your seat, I want people to be getting addicted to the drug I'm selling them first.
Sure. If you have, I think Andy has some comment here, she says the credit pricing model is.
Yeah, let me jump in. So if you think about the way that like you go to ChatGPT, right? You've got a free version now, and then they kind of give you a little taste of like 4.0 for a minute, and then they say, oh, you ran out. You can't use 4.0 anymore. You want to upgrade. And so I think like something similar to that, where you kind of like scope out for the buyer. So like the TA ops person or whoever's making the buying decision, like hey, we've seen roughly like you could have 2 recruiters using this like full time throughout the week before you're going to run into a usage limitation. And then just in the tool, like you're monitoring the credits and the usage on the back end, and maybe one person has insight into that, the admin. But I think for the recruiter, it's like, oh, you maxed out on your credits for the week, or you've maxed out on your usage. Do you want to upgrade? So I think like looking through like the model from like the B2C AI products and like how they're marketing the upgrade and the usage and the, hey, come back later kind of thing. I think that would probably be more effective because consumers right now understand that pricing. But if you just came to me as a buyer and you're like, so you get 2,000 credits, I'm like, well, what the heck is a credit? Like, I feel like I'm at, an arcade with my tickets, like at the ticket counter wanting to like get a stuffed animal or something. So I think because it's not super like intuitive for buyers right now at this moment in the market,
Yeah.
I think it's more of like estimating like full-time users, number of full-time users you can get for each tier, and then almost drive it at the user level to Steve's point with like user behavior and getting them kind of hooked on it. And
Yeah.
then giving that little in-screen prompt of like, hey, you're almost out of credits for the week or whatever it might be. So then they go to their manager and they're like, well, I need more credits. It's only Thursday. I got stuff to do Friday kind of thing.
Yeah, fair. It's a great feedback. And I just to clarify a few things. Right now, the way you described Chat GPT's model is our model is more or less the same. So once they have a certain number of credits, we say, hey, you want more credits, you can actually get them for free. And you just click on this and then just invite others from your team to get free credits. You keep getting 1,000 credits for free every time somebody joins because of you. This has sort of helped us get more growth. And to the point where you said they get certain free credits and they run out of it, that's how, in fact, we've signed up a few customers, purely based on that, where they get free credit when they sign up, they use it, they get addicted to it, and then they have 2 options. They can ask others to join or they can buy. And there are 2 plans here as well, subscribe and top up, which is a one-time versus a monthly plan. But I hear your feedback. Upfront, it's not really clear what they're really getting into or what they're buying. But the whole experience of running out of credits or buying or sharing for more credits, it comes after they have actually used the product for some time. It's free when they start off. You don't need to buy, even to get that wow.
Thanks, Shardul. Any other? Yeah, Flo kind of commented on that. We all have to explain monthly, yearly spent FNA. It would be great to have a fixed rate. And honestly, Shardul, I think from recruiting perspective, we operate, whenever we have a credit system, we operate under a scarcity mindset. Like I do that as well, right? Like I have LinkedIn credits and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send 50 a day because I know that in 30 days I'm gonna run out and I have to wait for them to renew and refresh. It would be wiser of LinkedIn to just let me run through as many as possible, and then for me to find out that I gotta up more. But totally understand that the free credits are given up front. Very cool. Any other questions for Shardul in the next 5 or so minutes? Otherwise, we'll flip it around.
Just something that I think about from a cost perspective, because it looks like this sits on top of your LinkedIn Recruiter Lite or LinkedIn Recruiter subscription. And so, just having that plus another cost of something else might be a hard sell for some of the smaller, startups like we are, versus having one tool like an AI sourcing tool that's combined with something else. So it's just one of those things that I think about when I see, okay, I got to have this on top of something else.
True. But here is the thing, so the way other recruiters are upselling this in their company is they say, hey, look, the time to hire has gone down significantly, right? We are not spending a lot of time doing those repetitive activities, which with the time, that save time is now spent engaging with the right candidates. And that has shown that, the cost you spend on a per month basis is actually nothing compared to, the time to close. Or the time you save or time you spend engaging with the right candidates. Obviously, with the agencies, that math is completely different. Even if they end up closing one candidate using this, uh, I think they make literally 100x more than what they spend on us. And I think some of the folks at agencies that work with us would vouch for it. They've already closed candidates using us. The other way to look at it is how much you would, as an internal recruiter, how much you would spend if you just close one candidate. It's essentially 1 month salary or 15, 20 days of salary. Our cost is much lesser than that. That's how I would look at it. But I hear your point, Tony. That's a good point to think. Yeah.
Go ahead, Flo.
Yeah, Shardul, you mentioned that you had a use case where somebody was doing this on the DEI team using this tool.
Yeah.
How granular can you get? You can pick women candidates. Can you pick like people of color? Can you pick people from like different states? How granular can you get with that?
I don't know about the whole color thing, but male female definitely works. I don't know if somebody used it for color. I'll have to get back to you on that. But
That's already great. Yeah.
it definitely works for. So I'll tell you one example. So one of the folks is recruiting in Japan, and they want ethnically Japanese people only for that job. They don't want any outsiders, and
Wow.
it did a great job doing it. I mean, I don't know how to read that, but yeah, it did a great job. So it figured that these are ethnically Japanese people, and I'll go only for them. I'm like, wow, okay. People have been
That's
using
really
all sorts of things. Yeah.
Brett?
Yeah. So, quick question, and if you, sorry, quick question on the, can you hear me on the messaging outreach part of it? What ability do you have to sort of customize within the agentically created messaging? Because I know a lot of, well, not that recruiters messaging are that good on their own, but a lot of agentically created sort of outreach messaging sounds agentically created, right? And, it's like, oh, your background looks great, or I'm really impressed by what you did here. And every time I get one, I'm like, really? Are you?
Yeah.
Or it makes a link between like intent and the reason why. How do you improve upon that with this tool?
Yes, so you can just mention that in the prompt that don't do this. Typically, this is what has been a big, even I get messages that say, I came across your impressive profile, and I'm like, there's nothing impressive. I don't know what you came across, but you just mentioned that in the prompt. I'll show that to you once again. In fact, in one of the prompts that I wrote, I did that already. So you could mention it in as much in depth as you want. So say this automated mail outreach. So this is one of the things. So you are a recruiter, open source contribution. You can mention it in as much in depth as you want. By the way, other thing, people have been using this to send like different languages messages as well. So again, coming back to the example where some of the Thai or Filipinos talent that we had to hire, some of our agencies had to hire, they send the messages in local languages. So there are use cases beyond just English as well. But yeah, to answer your question again, you can write the prompt and then you can mention, do not start with generic greetings like I came across your profile and found it impressive. You can add more such variations also, or you can write with AI and then the AI would help you write more such variations. You can mention that keep it to 2-3 lines and not more, and things like that. So there could be like a prompt library from which you can perhaps copy paste, but that's what happens, right? Then the prompt library, then those messages start becoming more repetitive. So it's really up to your creativity and your own thought process as to how you want to write this prompt.
So 2 quick follow-ups to that. One is there a batch queuing method where, it could generate all the messages and then allow the user to sort of go through it and be like, yep, send that, don't send that, add that, or anything that puts
Yes,
a
that's
quality
the
control.
flexibility in the form of workflows we have, which is exactly what my point was. You want to do that where others want to just automatically send them. So we just take away that send button and then let you sort of save those messages, and then you can, in fact, you can even schedule them for later. You can do that on a Friday and say that I want them to be scheduled on Monday morning or whatever, Monday, 11 a.m. PT. And then you can take a look at them and send them yourself. But all of that is perfectly possible.
Got you. And is it AI capable of doing any sort of external research, right? So instead of just inferring, let's build a craft a message based on this person's profile, can it, take a look at the person's latest posts or, do a general search and be like, hey, this person actually just was recognized for an award we found in Forbes, or something along those lines.
It is absolutely
really cool.
Yeah, so one of the recruiters has actually asked us to take a look at their Twitter feed as well, look at what they've been tweeting, and then not necessarily take that into the message they write, but take a look at and if there is anything interesting on their Twitter feed, they're tweeting about some library that they worked on or some open source contribution they did, to call that out in the message we send. That immediately gives them a response. In fact, that's one of the workflows we've been asked to work on. Yeah,
that's really cool, because I think finding inflection points that sound human about what the actual person cares about, not what you care about as a recruiter, is a way to slide into conversation, to use the term.
Yeah,
a better intro. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Well, we're at the 52-minute mark, so we're going to stop the questions for now. From our end, Shardul, what questions do you have for us?
I wanted to first know how many of you have agencies and how many of you are internal recruiters.
As of today, everyone on this call is an internal recruiter.
Okay, cool. Do you find, can I get some pilots going in your company? I think I showed you this. I'll show that again. But you do get free credits immediately so that you can give it a try. And I'd be happy to sort of sit with you and internally work with some of the workflows you have. Would you be, so I think let's just mention my email ID as well. Or I think you have that already, since this will go on YouTube. I just want to do that.
Cool.
I think that's pretty much from my side.
Awesome. No questions for us?
I think I have one more. Sorry, sir. I just keep forgetting that. Do you have any use cases where you have to call the candidate and ask for certain details on call? Because that's one workflow that just doesn't leave my head, where like a very natural sounding AI calls them and collects basic details from them, and then marks them into your ATS or things like that.
So just to be clear, you're asking if there's a use case among the ecosystem here of AI phone interviews.
Yeah.
Why don't you put a +1 if you would use a AI phone interview in the chat.
-1. Okay. Cool. It's 50-50. I think, Brett, what I suggest is maybe we can catch up after this. Let's go through what you want, and then I think I should be able to help you out.
Awesome. Well, Shardul, thank you so much for coming to Syelo Tank. We have one last kind of hurrah here. This is where we survey the crowd. And the question is, for those that were in attendance today, individuals who saw the demo, how many of you today would go and ask for budget to purchase this tool to utilize it? Not do a demo, but actually on the bottom line, pay for it today. Please give a thumbs up in the video if this is something that you would be you'd be willing to purchase, or at least purchase to try.
Yeah, and then one more question. Sorry, Amir. If there is somebody based in San Francisco, I'd love to catch up with you. I stay in Hayes Valley, so if you're around, happy to sort of catch up. Yeah.
Cool. Well, you got a lot of thumbs up, Shardul. So good job today. Thank you so much for checking out, or for coming and demoing your product to the Syelo community. It was great being able to see 100x. It seems like there's some folks already on the call that are going to be utilizing and taking advantage of the product. So thank you. Wishing you a beautiful day, and Flo has what's the promo code? Shardul, why don't you send me the data for the code, and I'll share it with the Syelo ecosystem.
Yeah. I'll do that. Yeah. Thanks, Amit. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for having me. Have a good day. Bye-bye.